Hello guys, welcome to Photoshop tutorials. Subscribe to our channel for regular updates. The source files are given as a link in the description below. Now let's get into the tutorial. Select the background layer and click on Ctrl-Command-J to duplicate a layer. Now click on Ctrl-Command-Shift-A to open Camera Raw, so we have to perform some basic exposure adjustments. The main thing you have to do in Camera Raw is to cut the shadows and decrease the highlights to bring down all the overexposed areas. I'm decreasing the exposure a bit since the skin is exposed. The main objective of adjusting the basic settings is to make the picture look like an even light portrait. Moving on to detail. Increase sharpening amount to 50 points and noise reduction, luminance to 20 points. Okay, this is fine. Moving on to HSL adjustments. Here you can find 3 tabs: hues, saturation, luminance. By adjusting the hues, you can see the color changes happening on the subject or in the background. This is done just to pop up the background colors mostly. In saturation, you can increase the vibrance of every single color in this picture. By adjusting the luminance, you can darken or lighten the color available in the picture. Next, moving on to split toning. Slightly adjusting the colors. Okay, this is fine. Moving on to calibration to make the picture more vibrant. Hit on OK once you're done. Now, we're gonna perform frequency separation technique. This technique makes the skin smooth without losing its texture. Okay, let's get into it. Select the top layer and click on Ctrl-Command-J 2 times, so we need 2 copy layers for this technique. Name one layer as blur and another one as texture. Keep the texture layer on top and blur layer below that. Off the texture layer. Click on blur layer, go to filter. Blur. Gaussian blur. 10 points of blur recommended approximately. See that you blur the texture of the skin. Hit on OK once you're done. Now switch on the texture layer by clicking on the eye icon and select the texture layer. Go to image. Apply image. On the dialog box, select the layer as blur. Channel RGB as default. Turn the blending mode to subtract. Opacity 100%, scale 2. Offset 128. Please see that these settings are same as mine. This is like a kind of a formula. Hit on OK once you're done. Turn the gray layer blending mode to linear light. Click on blur layer. We are about to brush on blur layer. Right click on the brush tool and select mixer brush. Keep the brush settings as same as mine. Start brushing gently on the skin. If overdone, the picture might look odd, so see that you brush smoothly. Okay, this is fine. The skin might look flat now, don't worry about that, we can correct that by dodging and burning. We have completed the frequency separation technique. Select the texture layer and the blur layer. Click on Ctrl G. To group both the layers, I'm naming the group as frequency separation. Let's tone up the skin. Open a new selective colors adjustment layer. Adjusting the reds and yellows to tone up the skin. The costume seems to be overexposed, let's color it up. Open a new selective colors adjustment layer. Select white and start adjusting the bars. Okay, this is fine. Click on Controller Command I to invert the layer mask and brush out the subject. Okay, we're done. Let's make the background look like it's blurred. But we're not gonna blur the background. This is a kind of a trick which makes your subject to look like it's sharper. We are gonna brush the background basically. Now let's get into it. Open a new layer. Select the brush tool. Brush settings opacity 100% and flow 5% approximately. Click on I to switch to eyedropper tool. Select the color behind the subject and start brushing gently. As you brush, switch to eyedropper tool to select the source color. Okay, this is fine. Open a layer mask and brush out the subject from it. decreasing the opacity to look natural. Now let's darken the corners a bit. Open a new layer. Select Brush tool. Opacity 100%, flow 5% approximately. Click on eye to switch to eyedropper tool to select the source color. Now brush gently around the corners of the picture. Okay, this is fine. Now let's do some local dodge and burn. Open a new layer. Click on Shift F5. On the dialog box, select Contents option and click on 50% gray, blending mode normal and opacity 100%. Hit on OK. Turn the gray layer blending mode to soft light. Select the brush tool, masking colors black and white. Brush setting opacity 100%, flow 1% or changeable accordingly. Now select white and start dodging the subject. Only highlight the areas where you see lights on the subject. Once you're done with the dodge, select black and start burning. Burn only the areas where you see shadows. A tip for the beginners: if you're in the starting stage of learning to dodge and burn, you can use two gray layers, one for dodge and one for burn. If you're a pro, then you can go with a single layer. See that you cover all the areas in a subject. The more time you take, the more effective output you will get. Okay guys, we are done with the local dodge and burn. Let's try boosting the colors using a selective colors adjustment layer. Open a new selective colors adjustment layer. Adjusting the colors just to make the picture more vibrant. Okay, this is cool. Let's add some blush to the subject. Open a new layer. Select the brush tool and choose red color from the color palette. Brush setting, opacity 100%, flow 1% or changeable accordingly. Start brushing on the nose and on the cheeks gently. If overdone, decrease the opacity to look natural. Change the blending mode to soft light. Let's move on to the final image tone boosting process. Select the topmost layer and click on Controller Command, Shift, Alt, E to merge all the below layers to form a new layer. Now click on Controller Command, Shift A to open Camera Raw. Let's now boost up the image using Camera Raw. The final color grading plays a major role of fine-tuning a picture. Most of the professionals will bring up their personal touch using this final tuning process. Okay, now let's get into it. Adjusting the basic settings to see whether this will bring up something better. Moving on to curves to brighten the highlights and increasing the shadows to form a depth. Let's go to split toning, which creates the final tone of the image. I'm looking for a reddish green color. Okay, this is fine for me. Moving on to calibration to make the picture more vibrant. Hit on OK once you're done. We've come to the end of this tutorial. If you have any doubts, you can ask them on the comments section below. Hope this tutorial was useful. Hit on the like button if you like this video, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon for regular updates. Follow us on Instagram, link given in the description below.